Working in incredibly tight spaces in the Rising Star Cave system in South Africa, a team of researchers last year made these and many other discoveries about this ancient species.
This is a land where beauty and danger walk side by side, where deserts hide ancient bones and jungles guard secrets older than memory. Africa's stories are not written only in books. They are carved into stone, whispered in the wind, and buried beneath endless sand.
These tools were found in the West Turkana region of northern Kenya. This is a semi-arid badland environment, similar to what you would see in New Mexico or Arizona.
Some discoveries here inspire wonder, while others leave a shadow in the mind, a quiet feeling that we've seen something we were never meant to find.
The Eye of Sahara is a geological formation that was first photographed by Gemini astronauts in the 1960s.
From forgotten cities to artifacts that defy explanation, these mysteries pull us closer, daring us to look. Yet once we do, we may never see Africa the same way again. Homo naledi, the hidden ancestor. In 2013, deep in the cradle of humankind in South Africa, a team of scientists and explorers squeezed through a narrow shaft known grimly as the Chute of Death. It was a place so tight and unforgiving that even the most seasoned cavers hesitated before attempting the descent. What they found beyond was unlike anything they expected, a chamber littered with the bones of a species no one had ever seen before. The remains belong to Homo naledi, a distant relative of humans that lived between 236,000 and 335,000 years ago.
Homo naledi fossils are extraordinary in a wide variety of ways.
They had hands capable of precise grip, shoulders adapted for reaching overhead, and feet built for walking long distances. Yet their brains were no larger than those of chimpanzees, raising unsettling questions about their intelligence. Even stranger was the location of the bones. The chamber lay so deep through such narrow, twisting passages that it seemed impossible for these small-brained beings to have found it accidentally. Did they climb in willingly? Were they placed there by others in some ritual? The chamber held no signs of violent death, no evidence of flooding or collapse. It felt deliberate, like a message from the past, written in bone instead of ink. And as the team worked in the dim glow of their headlamps, they knew they were not just uncovering a new species, but also a riddle with no easy answer. The sky blue stone. In 1990, in the hills of Sierra Leone, a miner named Angelo Pettoni stumbled across something that should not have existed. Among the earth and dust was a fragment of stone, the color of a perfect summer sky. Its hue was too vivid, too pure, to be mistaken for an ordinary mineral. Pettoni took it for testing, expecting perhaps a rare gemstone. What the laboratories found instead made no sense. The stone was made mostly of oxygen, over 77% of its composition, along with traces of carbon, silicon, calcium, and sodium. No natural geological process on Earth was known to create such a substance. It was as if someone, or something, had engineered it. And yet the layer of Earth it came from was ancient, far older than any civilization. Carbon dating suggested it could have fallen from the sky between 11 and 18,000 years ago, perhaps riding a meteor through the darkness of space. Was it debris from a lost planet? A relic of an ancient civilization whose technology we no longer understand? Or was it simply a rare quirk of nature that defies our science? Only small samples exist. The rest seemingly vanished. Pettoni guarded the remaining pieces until his death, taking with him answers that the world may never have. All that remains is the blue stone's impossible color, and the feeling that it came from somewhere, or somewhen, far beyond our reach. Madagascar's stone forest. In the dry southwest of Madagascar, the land rises into a jagged skyline of stone. From a distance, it looks like a petrified forest, thousands of towering spires, as if some ancient giant had driven spears into the earth and left them there to weather the centuries. Up close, the formations are sharper, more menacing. Their limestone edges can cut skin with the lightest touch. Locals call this place Tsingy, meaning where one cannot walk barefoot.
The word Tsingy is indigenous to the Malagasy language and aptly translates to where one cannot walk barefoot.
The stone forest was carved over millions of years. Rainwater, dripping through cracks and fissures, slowly dissolved the limestone, leaving behind this vast labyrinth of razor-edged pinnacles, some rising more than 70 meters. Narrow canyons wind between the towers, dark and cool even under the burning sun. In these sheltered spaces, rare plants and animals survive, species found nowhere else on Earth. Lemurs once leapt across the spires, and birds nested in hidden ledges, though fewer come now. Legends speak of gold and jewels hidden deep within, guarded by spirits that punish intruders. The reality is dangerous enough. Paths vanish into dead ends. A single misstep can mean a fall onto the stone blades below. Few venture far inside, and fewer still return without injury. The remoteness of the Tsingy has protected it for centuries, but mining and deforestation now creep closer. If the stone forest falls silent one day, it won't be because the rocks have moved. It will be because the life and legends that gave them meaning have slipped away, and in their place will remain only the stillness, the wind, and the jagged reminders of a world shaped by patience and time. The Dendera Light Mystery. South of Cairo, along the Nile, stands the Temple of Hathor at Dendera.
Like in the Temple of the goddess Hathor in the Dendera region, southern Egypt.
Its columns are thick with hieroglyphs, its walls carved with scenes that have puzzled visitors for centuries. Among them is one relief that refuses to let go of the imagination, a depiction that some say proves the ancient Egyptians had a kind of electric light. The carving shows a bulb-shaped object connected to what looks like a cable. Inside the bulb, a serpent stretches from end to end as if suspended in energy. Beneath it, a pillar stands tall, etched with lines, while human figures gesture toward it as though tending a device. To modern eyes, it is uncanny, almost familiar, like a snapshot of a lost technology. Mainstream Egyptologists insist it is not a light bulb at all. They say the serpent represents a spiritual force, the bulb a lotus flower, and the pillar a symbol of stability. The image, they argue, is religious poetry in stone, not engineering. But others are not convinced. The relief sits in the shadows of a side chamber where sunlight never falls. It is easy to imagine the glow of light, real light, filling the space thousands of years ago. If the Dendera light was a tool, what powered it? If it was merely symbolic, why the strange resemblance to something modern? The stone stays silent, neither confirming nor denying the theories laid at its base. And so the carving remains what it has been for centuries, a mystery cut into rock, waiting for someone to either decode it or admit it may never be understood. The hidden chamber in the Great Pyramid. For more than 4,500 years, the Great Pyramid of Giza has loomed over the desert, its stones weathered but unyielding. It has been measured, mapped, and explored for centuries. Yet in 2017, technology revealed that it still holds secrets. Using subatomic particles called muons, cosmic messengers that pass through rock, scientists scanned the pyramid's interior. What they found was a void. The space is over 30 meters long, high within the pyramid's structure. No passages lead directly to it. No one has seen inside. Archaeologists suggest it may simply be an unfinished section, a gap left in the stone to lighten the weight. But others imagine something else. An untouched chamber, perhaps sealed since the day the pyramid was completed. Could it hold artifacts overlooked by ancient looters? Could it be the mythical Hall of Records, said to contain the knowledge of a lost civilization? Fringe theorists whisper of alien technology hidden away until humanity is ready to understand it. The truth is more mundane, say most experts, but even they cannot explain why space exists at all. The pyramid was meant to be eternal, a monument to a single man's journey to the afterlife. yet it now feels like the pyramid is holding back a part of itself, as if guarding one final secret. The void remains sealed, and perhaps it will stay that way, quietly defying our curiosity, reminding us that even in an age of scanners and probes, some places remain beyond reach. The Eye of the Sahara. In the heart of Mauritania's desert lies a formation so vast it can only be fully seen from the sky. 40 kilometers across, it forms perfect rings, concentric circles fading from pale sand to deep rock, like ripples in a frozen sea. Astronauts noticed it in the 1960s.
The Eye of Sahara is a geological formation that was first photographed by Gemini astronauts in the 1960s.
Puzzled by its symmetry, they called it the Eye of the Sahara. For years, it was thought to be the scar of a massive asteroid strike, but closer study showed no signs of an impact. Instead, geologists say it began as a huge dome of rock pushed upward by forces deep within the Earth. Over millions of years, wind and water carved away the softer layers, leaving behind the harder ridges in perfect circles. The explanation is elegant, but it hasn't silenced the speculation. Some believe the eye is the final trace of Atlantis, its rings matching ancient descriptions of the lost city. Fossils found nearby, sharks, crocodiles, even dinosaurs, hint at a time when this desert was green and full of life. Standing at the edge of one of the rings, the scale is overwhelming. The wind howls across the emptiness, and the horizon bends away in every direction. There's nothing to hold on to but the feeling that you are standing inside a mark left by something far greater than yourself, whether by the slow hand of nature or the sudden stroke of catastrophe.
Now first, like always, be sure to hit the like button down below. It helps us out tremendously with the reach of this video. Thank you.
The Nubian stone tablets. Along the Nile, north of Sudan's capital, lie the weathered remains of the Kingdom of Kush. It was a civilization that rose beside ancient Egypt, rivaled its power, and for nearly a century even ruled over the pharaohs themselves. The ruins at Meroe still hold the echoes of that strength: pyramids, temples, and carved stone tablets scattered in the sand. The tablets are etched in the Meroitic script, the oldest known writing system south of the Sahara. The symbols curve and twist in patterns unlike any other, holding the stories, laws, and prayers of a people long gone. But here is the strange part. Most of it remains undeciphered. Scholars can identify certain names and titles, yet the grammar and meaning slip away like water through fingers. The code has defied linguists for more than a century. It's as if the Kushites left us their words, but took the key when they vanished. Without it, we can only guess at the truths they carried, accounts of their kings, their battles, their gods, perhaps even the reason their empire fell. When you stand among the ruins, the air is dry and heavy, the sun beating down on the carved stones. You can almost imagine the scribes who once cut each symbol with care, never knowing their language would become a mystery. And somewhere between the wind and the silence, you feel the presence of voices that still want to be heard, but cannot. The Klerksdorp Spheres. In the mining town of Ottosdal, South Africa, workers digging through ancient rock have uncovered objects that should not exist. They are small, no larger than a fist, perfectly round, and etched with parallel grooves, as if cut by a steady, deliberate hand. These are the Klerksdorp spheres, more than 3 billion years old, formed long before humans, or even most complex life, walked the Earth. Geologists say they are the result of natural processes, mineral concretions shaped over unimaginable periods, and yet their symmetry, their polished surfaces, and their deep, straight grooves make them hard to dismiss as mere accidents of nature. Some have shells of metal harder than steel, surrounding a softer core. Others are so perfectly balanced that they spin on their axis when placed on a flat surface. To believers in ancient civilizations, the spheres are relics, evidence of a forgotten people, or visitors from beyond our world. To skeptics, they are simply nature's artistry, given mystery by their age and rarity. Holding one in your hand is like holding time itself, condensed into a shape as simple as it is impossible. Whether they were shaped by patient geology or purposeful hands, the spheres whisper the same thing. The world is older, stranger, and far less understood than we like to believe. Great Zimbabwe Ruins. In the rolling hills of southeastern Zimbabwe, massive stone walls rise from the earth. They are dry stacked, built without mortar, yet they have stood for centuries, their granite blocks fitted so precisely that not even a blade of grass can slide between them. This is Great Zimbabwe, once the heart of a thriving kingdom that ruled trade routes across southern Africa. From the 11th to the 15th century, its towers and enclosures housed as many as 20,000 people. Gold, ivory, and ceramics from as far away as China passed through its markets.
This historical site is surrounded by many large rocks. It's a vestige of a kingdom that once flourished in southern Africa between the 9th and 15th centuries.
The stone walls were not fortifications but symbols, monuments to power, prestige, and unity. The people who built them, the Shona, left no written records, only the city itself as testimony. When Europeans first arrived, they refused to believe Africans could have created such architecture. Wild theories credited the ruins to Phoenicians, Arabs, and even the Queen of Sheba. But excavations revealed artifacts tied unmistakably to the Shona culture. The denial was not about evidence. It was about refusing to see Africa's past as grand and complex. Today, the ruins are quiet. The wind slips through the narrow passages between the walls. Birds nest in the high curves of stone. Walking there, you feel the weight of a place both celebrated and stolen, where history was not just forgotten, it was erased and only later reclaimed. The Skeleton Coast. On the northwestern shore of Namibia, the desert meets the sea in a way that feels almost hostile. Here, the sand stretches endlessly inland, while offshore the cold Benguela current stirs up thick fog and dangerous swells. This is the Skeleton Coast, a place where ships vanish into mist and never return. The beaches are littered with their remains, rusted hulls, broken masts, and timbers bleached pale by the sun. Whale bones lie tangled among them, relics from a time when whaling ships hunted these waters and sometimes became victims themselves. Seal colonies crowd the rocky points, their cries carried on the wind, while jackals prowl the shore for carcasses washed in by the tide. In the early days, sailors feared this coast more than storms. A wreck here meant not just the loss of a ship, but a fight for survival in a barren land with no fresh water and no shelter. Survivors faced days of walking through heat and sand, the ocean on one side and a wall of desert on the other. Few made it out. From the air, the Skeleton Coast is strangely beautiful, its colors muted, its patterns stark. But on the ground, the silence is heavy, broken only by the surf and the wind. It is a place that reminds you of the thin line between life and death, and how quickly the sea can turn from a giver to a taker. Ancient stone tools at Lomekwi. On the western shore of Lake Turkana in Kenya, a dry, windswept plain hides one of humanity's most important clues to its beginnings.
These tools were found in the West Turkana region of northern Kenya. This is a semi-arid badland environment, similar to what you would see in New Mexico or Arizona.
In 2011, archaeologists working there unearthed a scatter of stones, unlike the natural debris around them. These were not shaped by rivers or wind. They had been struck, chipped, and carved by hand. And they were old, very old. Dating placed them at 3.3 million years, far older than the earliest known members of our genus, Homo. That meant whoever made them was not human in the way we understand it. The likely candidates were Australopithecus or Kenyanthropus, species with small brains but hands and minds capable of deliberate shaping. The tools themselves are simple. Heavy cores used as hammers, flakes sharp enough to cut meat or scrape bark, and anvils where the strikes left deep scars. But in their simplicity lies something profound. Each one represents a choice, an action taken to solve a problem. A mind looked at a rock and saw not just a rock, but a tool. Standing at Lomekwi today, the sun beats down on the same ground those early makers once walked. You can almost imagine the sound of stone striking stone, the moment when necessity and insight met for the first time. It is humbling to think that our journey, from shaping rocks to building cities, began with gestures so small, in a landscape so empty that only the stones remember. Legends of half-human, half-dog beings. In remote corners of Africa, stories pass from one generation to the next about creatures that are neither man nor beast. They walk upright like humans, but their faces are twisted into the muzzles of dogs or hyenas. Their bodies are tall, broad, and powerful, their eyes glinting in the dark. To many, they are known simply as dogmen. In 2017, villagers in Limpopo, South Africa, claimed to have seen them, two-legged shapes moving through the bush at night, their footsteps heavy, their movements deliberate. Some swore they had hyena faces, their mouths curling back to reveal long, sharp teeth. In Liberia, similar tales speak of dog-like beings who live deep in the forest, emerging only to hunt or to punish those who trespass. No photographs or physical evidence exist, only the testimony of those who say they've seen them. Skeptics dismiss the stories as misidentified animals or tricks of shadow and fear. But in places where the bush runs for miles and the night is thick, it's easy for the mind to conjure shapes from darkness. Whether they are real or not, the legends persist. They are part of the unseen fabric of the land, reminders that even in an age of satellites and science, there are still places where the unknown prowls just beyond the firelight, waiting to be remembered in whispers. Africa is a continent of endless horizons, but its greatest distances are not measured in miles. They stretch through time, back to moments we can barely imagine, to lives and worlds that have left only fragments behind. Some of those fragments inspire wonder, others unease. Each discovery is a reminder that the past is not fixed. It shifts with every stone unearthed, every carving read, every story remembered. We may never solve all of its mysteries, but perhaps that is the point. For in mystery, there is life. And in life, there is always more to find if we dare to look.